Hi everyone, it's Michael. I'm so excited because it is time for our July orchid update. And so many of you have been asking so many specific questions about so many specific plants, so this will give you a general snapshot of exactly how everything in the collection is doing. A couple quick updates about the general setup. I did go ahead and scrap the LED lighting setup I had here. If you recall, I had 2 LED grow lights and then 2 germination mats down here on the bottom. The reason I scrapped it was because the plants that were sitting here were just not accelerating in their growth and development the same way that plants in natural light were. So that's definitely my fault. I need to revisit my artificial light setup and possibly do some more research. So I'm gonna go ahead and invest in that process, but in the meantime, I'll show you where everything has moved. I did invest in a second shelf, so all of my medium light orchids are here. They receive about maybe an hour to 2 hours of direct sunlight a day. And then right over here, I have my highlight orchids. So those will receive about 4 to 5 hours of morning light a day. These guys over here are my low light orchids. And then of course, right over this way is where I have the struggle bus. This is where my recuperating phals are getting some bottom heat and just trying to put down new root systems. So that's the basic breakdown of what's changed, of where they are, but I also want to present this a little bit differently. So if there's a specific plant you're watching, I'm going to implement a numeric system. So each plant will have a number. I will list it in the description below, and I'm going to present the plants in the exact same order every single time I do an update. And that way you can really just keep your eyes peeled for exactly the plant that you're looking for, and you can be sure that it's the plant that you wanted an update on. So without further ado, I will go ahead and jump in and start with number 1. I tried to order them in order of oldest to newest, so the oldest ones that I've had in my collection to the newest. But let's just go ahead and jump in with orchid number 1. This is a little no ID phal that was severely burned in the process of doing my Physand treatment, but you can see it is doing fabulously. The leaves are much, much smaller than the originals, and it's already a mini. But you can see, if I flip it on this side, you can see where the Physand treatment completely blackened and burned that root. But it just didn't waste any time putting down new roots, and now it's just starting to gain some momentum, so that's really cool. Over here is orchid number 2. This is my Cattleya Yuan Gold, and it's interesting. This is one of the reasons I took it off of the LED lighting setup. It hasn't done much of anything. It did put out these 2 beautiful new canes, but it did that when it was in the artificial lighting setup, and then it hasn't released any new roots. It hasn't really done much of anything, so I'm hoping giving it direct sunlight is really going to make an impact on how it's developing and how its root system grows. You can just see, look how these are just so shriveled. I don't know if they have anything left to give. So there's that. This over here is my Wilsonara. It's an Aloha Sparks Halloween Oncidium type. But it didn't do much of anything when I transferred it to Semi-Hydro. It didn't do anything bad, like the root system didn't rot, but it is just putting out a new root growth. And finally, I'm starting to see some green root tips, which is a real treat because I just didn't know why. Sometimes they just like take a while, they sulk for a while before they decide they just want to be compliant with Semi-Hydro, but you can see right in there. Look at those adorable little green root tips. It's just starting to get itself settled. So that's cool. This over here is a no ID Oncidium. And this is one of the ones that I severely set back when I burned it with the Physand 20 solution. But as detrimental as that damage was, I mean, it lost a couple leaves. Every single root in this system was burned, but it didn't waste any time and just jumping right back in. And now it is, I mean, just look at it. It's just kind of remarkable to me how resilient these things are. They have such an intense will to live when they want to live. So there's that guy. This is, everyone has one in their collection. This is the Phalaenopsis that drives me absolutely bonkers because it won't put out new roots. It hasn't done anything. I've had it forever, and it's just now giving me a little bit of a leaf. Right when I was on the verge of being like, you know what, I've had it with you, I'm just gonna toss you. So now I just feel like I can't in good conscience get rid of it because it seems to be on the up and up, but who actually knows what's going on? So that is the no ID Oncidium. Oh, and I've lost track of counting. So no ID phal, 1. Cattleya, number 2. Wilsonara Aloha Sparks, number 3. No ID Oncidium, number 4. No ID phal, number 5. Over here I have my Paphiopedilum. This is a Hawaiian Kapuna. This is number 6. And this one struggled with a bacterial infection. I did the spag and bag method with the germination chamber, and it seemed to have helped. The increased humidity has also been helping it, and it seems to be putting out a new growth right there. So I'm hoping for the best, but I haven't seen any real development in the root system. Over here is number 7. This is To My Kids Dendrobium Nobile, and it's just really starting to get itself settled. It's so interesting. You can see I've got a green root tip there, and some green root tips coming in right down. Let me see if I can bring you in closer. Right down there. But it's interesting. This one was a lot like the Wilsonara. It just sulked for a while and did absolutely nothing. But now it seems to have consented to semi-hydroponics. So thank you for joining the club. Over here, this is my Banfieldara. This is a Mystic Maze Brassica type hybrid. But the entire root system rotted out. It has no viable roots for the entire plant. So it's really just living off of the energy stored in the bulbs. But in the process of living off that energy, it did put out this adorable new growth. Come on, just focus in. And you can see it's putting down new roots, and I'm hoping that those roots will be, they'll grow fast enough to nourish the entire plant, so we'll see. That guy was number 8. Number 9 is, everyone was so sweet about this. This is the Keiki that I took from my mom's orchid, and it's the most meaningful orchid in my collection, and I really hope I can save it. But it did lose 2 leaves. The main artery, the main root that was feeding the entire plant was definitely killed in the process. But after it lost those 2 leaves, this leaf has remained completely turgid, and it seems to be putting out new root growth. So I'm just hoping against hope that this makes a swift recovery. Orchid number 10. This is the Mother's Day Phalaenopsis. It's similar to the other one that drives me crazy because it just has not put down any new roots. It hasn't done much of anything. And that frustrates me, but it is putting out a new leaf, so we'll just see what happens. Number 11 is my Psychopsis. It's just continuing to do its thing. It has 3 new growths. Which I showed you last time, and they're just continuing to develop. So you've got one there. You've got, let me see where you are, little guys. You've got another one there. One right there. And we've got another one right there. So I'm just hoping that these accelerate their development and growth because I would really, really love to see this guy bloom soon. They're just so spectacular, and they're sequential bloomers, so this will keep you really happy for a really long time. This over here is another one of the Phalaenopsises that I just almost completely destroyed in the process of that Physane 20 treatment, but look at it. It's just continuing to insist on living. It's putting out new roots, and it's putting out a new leaf. So this guy seems unbothered. So that would be number, that was 9, 10, 11. So that was 12. Number 13 is my Phragmipedium, and this one has been giving me some difficulty. The root system rotted out. You could see the leaf over here was starting to yellow. The leaf tips started to brown. And then I lost this leaf from the middle altogether. But the peculiar thing is these are so sensitive to mineral content, and I just figured out what kind of water I need to be using. Go ahead and check out my pH, TDS, and water type mini series because that'll really help you understand what you need to be doing for your orchids in terms of water content and quality. But I'm hoping that that's going to make a big impact. So we'll check in the August update. So we will go on to this fowl. This is a fowl that my sister was given as a gift at her office, and then she almost killed it, so she gave it to me, and now I adore it because I like things that give me a sense of connection or connectivity to my family or to my friends. It's just like a little beautiful living memory. So this one has been acclimating nicely to semi-hydro. As expected, it's producing smaller leaves, but it does have some really lovely green roots that are just growing nicely down into the system, if you can see those. And it just seems to be doing really, really well. And there's another new leaf coming out right in the middle, which is so cute. Oh gosh, I lost track again. 10, 11, 12. This was 13, that was 14, now on to 15. This one is a new one to the collection. This is just a big white Phalaenopsis. It is a Sogo Yukidan. And my Sogo Yukidan I picked up maybe 2 days ago and repotted into semi-hydro. I'm doing a project with this one. I'm going to track it month to month so I can start to document the stages of how orchids will acclimate to semi-hydroponics. So that is what's going on with that guy. So that brings me to, so that was 13, 14, 15. We're on 16. This is my Dapper Catasetum. I think what I did here really wrong was I repotted it the second I got it, and it had just gone into, it had actually been in active growth mode for a little bit. So it had a really nicely developed root system. And then I think I just really shocked the crap out of it and really set it back. But it seems to be recovering nicely now. It is putting down lots of new roots, and the growths are continuing to mature and get bigger. So I'm just hoping that, it's big enough that it gets big enough by the end of the growing season that it can re-expand that energy source right there because I would really love that bulb to just like replump up and be okay. So it'll be, I just want to make sure it's not going to die. And then onto this. This is my Betty May Steele Carmela. And this is my Ascocenda. So when I repotted this, I did a repotting video on it, and I left it primarily out of the leca beads, and then I thought, you know what, even at the risk of killing this plant, I want to see how a Vandaceous type will do in semi-hydro, if it's going to go through the same process as a Phalaenopsis, for example, or if it's just going to completely buckle and die early. And this one is not doing much of anything. It's not going backwards, it's not going forwards, it's just kind of thinking about what's going on. So I'm not sure how this is going to progress, but that's what's going on with this guy. So hold on, we were at 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Now we're on to 18. This is my Zygopetalum. As you know, I made a video about how to help it adapt, and I got rid of all of the rotting and decaying root system. And it seems to have been the right choice because, let's see, you can see the pseudobulbs on the new growths are just starting to really, really plump up. And it is, if I get close enough, you can see that there's a little baby new growth right at the bottom of that bulb, which is really cool. But that's not the only new growth. It's actually got one right over here. There you are. You see that little guy right there? So that is also a plumping pseudobulb right above it, and then a new growth coming off of it. So it's my hope that when those start to mature, that they will put down roots and nourish the entire plant. So now we are on to my Bulbophyllums. I love these. They're so interesting and weird. But my Bulbophyllum Fascinator is just not doing as well as the other. So this one I put into semi-hydro, and it doesn't look much different, but you can see that the bulbs are just really, really shriveled. The new growth isn't. The new growth has been like relatively unbothered, but it's not. This one's not doing much of anything, similar to a lot of plants and how they'll behave when you first transition them to semi-hydro. So that's what that guy is doing. But its friend over here, this is my Bulbophyllum Ambrosia, is loving its life, and it has 2 new growths. So if you take a look at it closer, this is the one that a lot of people were asking questions about. You can see it's working its roots down into the leca beads. It's having a great time. It has this cute new leaf right here growing up. And then this guy came along right after, and it's just starting to venture its roots downwards into the pot to get stable. So that's pretty cool. Then over here, this is my new member to the family. This is the Paphiopedilum hybrid. It's a Pinocchio Laui. But you can see this bloom on it has faded since I purchased it, but it has since opened this guy, and it's just so pretty. I'm just really, really into it. And it has another bulb right there that may potentially open, but I'm waiting till all of the blooms drop to go ahead and get it repotted. I just want to make sure it has a healthy transition and it is an active growth when I make it transition. Over here I have my new, this is my Maxillaria Tenufolia. Sometimes I just stumble over these words. But this one I just adapted. You can see the roots do not know what's going on. They are starting to mold. Again, don't panic. That kind of comes with the territory. So the older root system is rotting out, and I'm just hoping that the bulbs have enough energy to sustain them through generating new root growth. So we'll see what happens with this guy. This is the first of its kind I've owned. And then last of all, I have Kristen's big Phalaenopsis. So I repotted this for my friend Kristen. It will be going back to her. So I'm just going to kind of track and monitor its progress. Hopefully by the August update, it will have put down enough roots and a new leaf so I can go ahead and send it back to her with love and care. Let's see how quickly I can recap this new numbered system. Number 1, no ID Phalaenopsis. Number 2, Cattleya Yuan Gold. Number 3, Wilsonara Aloha Sparks Halloween. Number 4, no ID Oncidium. Number 5, no ID Phalaenopsis. Number 6, Hawaiian Kapuna Paphiopedilum. Number 7, To My Kids Dendrobium Nobile. Number 8, Banfieldara Mystic Maze. Number 9, Mom's Keiki. Number 10, Mother's Day Phalaenopsis. Number 11, Psychopsis Mendenhall Hildos. Number 12, Ox Lottery Prince Phalaenopsis. Number 13, Phragmipedium no ID. Number 14, no ID Phalaenopsis. Number 15, the Sogo Yukidan Phalaenopsis. Number 16, the Dapper Dots Catasetum. Number 17, the Betty May Steele Carmela Ascocenda. Number 18, Zygopetalum. Number 19, this is my Bulbophyllum Fascinator. Number 20, Bulbophyllum Ambrosia. Number 21, Paphiopedilum Pinocchio Laui. Number 22, Maxillaria Tenufolia. And lastly, I have Kristen's Phalaenopsis. That was stressful. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I will have full updates in the same template, so go ahead and make a mental note of whatever numbers you really want to watch and monitor, and I will be back in August with the August Orchid update. Thank you once again for spending your time with me, and you guys have a beautiful rest of your night. Take care.